long-awaited day has finally come. Finally, EA has made another good FPS game, because last week, Battlefield 6 finally came out after much anticipation from myself and many, many others. And I'm being genuine when I say this, it just might be the best FPS game that's come out all year. The game feels amazing, and it's the best Battlefield we've had since 2018, all the way back when Battlefield 5 was the latest game on the market from the franchise. But it's not perfect. There are some issues I have with the game, but even with those issues, this is the game I've been wanting for years. So, let's talk about what makes it the game I've wanted for so very long today. In today's video, I'm going to give my opinions on Battlefield 6's multiplayer. I'm going to go in depth on the things I love the most, and then give some critiques on the things I feel like could be done either way better, or were changed from the beta when they didn't need to be. With that out of the way, ladies, gentlemen, and degenerates, my name is Thrill, and let's dive right into the reasons why Battlefield 6 is the game I've wanted for years. Let's start with the most important part of any first-person shooter game, with the weapons and the gunplay. The weapons I've gotten to use so far feel incredible, with my current favorites being the M433 Assault Rifle, the M4A1 Carbine, and the PW5A3 SMG, also known as the MP5. Guns all feel like they have some weight to them, and they all feel like they do the appropriate amount of damage for the sound and the recoil they have. This might seem dumb to point out, but the small design factors like these massively influence how good the gunplay feels. The system for building your weapons out is also incredibly unique and adds tons of depth to the game. Let me explain. On your gun, you are given 100 points, and every attachment takes a certain amount of points to equip. Let's use my M433 build as an example here. The 1x scope I use is 10 points. The muzzle brake is another 10. I'll lose 15 points for the extended barrel, and a whopping 20 for the vertical grip I use for the least recoil possible. My high capacity quick reload magazine loses me 30, and the ammo I use loses me 5. As you can see, I'm now at 90 points out of 100. This system allows you to get really creative with how you build out your weapons, which I'm a massive, massive fan of. My only minor gripes with weapons in the gunplay is that as of right now, Bloom feels incredibly punishing, with a lot of weapons just having their first shots completely missed due to how aggressive it can be, which can be incredibly frustrating. Yo, it's just from the future here. This is a bug, and it should hopefully be fixed soon. But as of right now, I don't think it has been. I'll leave an update in the pinned comment when it's fixed. Sweet Spot from Battlefield 1 is also back, allowing sniper players to one-shot body shot players at some ranges, which while I find to be a bad addition, I can see why they would add it back. Kinda. I don't know, man. I don't like it. Another thing to note is this game once again uses open weapons in most playlists, meaning any class can use any weapon, which I know has been a topic of massive debate online in the Battlefield community. Thankfully, for those who like the old system where weapons are class locked, there are closed weapons playlist, so everybody wins. Next up are the maps. Now, I'm going to be very clear here, some maps in the game are absolute garbage. I think I'd have better luck finding human life in the Saharan desert than I would in the average game of Firestorm with how open that map is and how bad the visibility can be at longer ranges. And Manhattan Bridge has more tanks near a local military base, all of which are conveniently parked up in an intersection ready to blow you clean off the map. Now, I know it's a lot of negativity to open a segment in the section of the video at the things I love about the game, to which I say, yeah, that's actually a fair point, but some of the better maps are absolute gems. Cairo, for example, is one of my favorite maps of the game. The map is built for constant action. There are several routes into and out of objectives, several out-of-the-way areas that you can hide things like deploy beacons and sensors, and some of the best designed capture points in the game. My favorite of which is the D flag. It's a cramped, chaotic flag, with several different hiding spots, cover for those on the offense and on the defense, and it has multiple layers of elevation, so enemies can come from literally anywhere. If 2 or more squads are fighting hard for control of this flag, it is a blast and easily some of the best CQC you'll get in a game of Conquest. However, my absolute favorite map in the game is easily Barak Valley. This map slaps. The A, C, and E flags are all classic open hills with long-range engagements, constant support for your vehicles, and absolute chaos on the actual hills. But where the map really shines for me are its B and D flags. Located in the dead center of the map in 2 buildings, these hills offer some insane close quarters combat, with almost every multi-squad brawl on these flags ending in an absolutely massive ticket loss for both sides if your medics aren't working overtime. The map allows you to play whichever side of Battlefield you enjoy more, and because I find myself enjoying both equally and wanting to change up which I'm playing, I really, really love that. Finally, let's talk about quality of life, because DICE absolutely loaded this game up with some really nice quality of life settings that make the game far more enjoyable for players. While most of these are things I'm aware most people won't really dive too deep into, for the people who really enjoy tinkering with their settings and optimizing the hell out of everything, these are really, really welcome additions. Let's talk about a few of my favorites. First, we have the ability to change all the colors on the HUD. You might have noticed that compared to the default HUD, mine looks a lot different. This is because I've changed almost every single color on the HUD to be more visible to me. My team is a darker blue, my enemies are yellow, and the neutral color is a light blue, which not only makes the entire HUD look really nice, but it also makes it that ammo bags and other resources don't blend in as much with the environment. The only gripe I have with the system is that if you want the color your hit markers turn when you kill an enemy to match the enemy team color, you have to manually swap it in a different menu. It's kind of annoying, but also such a small thing I'm not really too upset about it. Stick with the HUD. Let's go over the sheer amount of HUD customization, because you can change tons of things. For example, you probably noticed by now that my damage number next to my crosshair aren't in their default position next to the lower left of the crosshair. That's because DICE realized some people wouldn't want this visual clutter, but would also want the information these damage numbers provided. So, they added sliders so you can adjust the offset of these numbers to wherever you want. Finally, the quality of life setting I love the most is this little advanced mouse sensitivities menu. A lot of people, myself included, who are more heavily involved in the FPS space don't really think about sensitivities to their traditional values, but rather by centimeters through 60, or the amount of centimeters your mouse needs to move for a character to spin 360 degrees in-game. Usually, people have to calculate this with external calculators, but DICE, being the absolute gods that they are, put this handy little menu down here so that you don't actually have to use any external calculations in order to know what sensitivity you'd be most comfortable on. It's an awesome change, and honestly one I'd love to see in more games going forward. Alright guys, before we get into the second part of the video, I just want to ask if you're enjoying the video, then please leave a like, and if you want to see more videos about all things FPS gaming, please consider subscribing and turning on the bell. Right now, almost 98% of you aren't subscribed, so I'd really appreciate it if some of you would help me reach my goal for the end of October, which is hit 1,000 subs. Right now, we're at around 800 subs, so we're 80% of the way there. At this rate, we could probably hit the goal by the end of the month. Alright, that's enough self-promo, let's get back to the video. Okay, I've gushed about the things I think this game does amazingly for a long time. Let's talk about some of the things I think the game either does wrong or could be better at, and some potential solutions to these grievances. Starting with the movement. As of making this video, Battlefield 6 currently has the slowest sprint speed of any modern Battlefield game without some use of either a sprint perk or tac sprint. Now I hear some of you in the comments asking, but what about being knife out? The game tutorial said that makes you faster. And while yeah, running with your knife out does make you faster, it's still the slowest of any movement buffing, item, or perk in any modern Battlefield title. Honestly, this kind of kills some of the fun of the game for me. I really love sprinting around in Battlefield 4, playing hero and being a constant threat to any enemy captured objectives. And while yeah, knife out is a lot faster, it also leaves you vulnerable while moving from objective to objective, which could easily get you killed if you're not careful. So, what's my solution to this problem? Well, that's easy. Up the base movement speed from 5.99 meters per second to around 6.25 or 6.5. I lean more towards 6.25, but 6.5 is possible given that it's the speed from Battlefield 3, 4, and 2042. The knife out value should also move up, but only to 7.15, putting it on par with the sprint perks from Battlefield 3 and 4. This way, movement feels faster, more fluid, and most importantly, more fun. Finally, let's talk over my biggest issue with the game right now, and that's visibility. I feel like I struggle to see a lot of enemy players at times, even with how insane spotting is right now. Quick side tangent about that. Right now, if you fire an unsuppressed weapon within 75 meters of an enemy player, you get 3D spotted briefly, giving an insane amount of information to the enemy team just for engaging in combat. This is easily mitigated with the use of a flash hider or suppressor, but it's still something I figured I'd mention. But getting back on track, the visibility on some maps is downright awful. From some maps with insane amounts of smoke or dust in the air to people completely blending into some of the darker corners and becoming one with the shadows, visibility is currently awful in the game at times. Even with the SOVIS option turned on, I still find myself struggling to see targets at times. It's not just me either. A number of people I talked to have said similar things about the current visibility in the game. So how do we fix this? Well, my solution is actually two fixes. First, reduce the amount of static smoke and dust on maps. This will help both with visibility and your computer or console performance in game. So this is a no-brainer. Second, I'd increase the strength of the SOVIS filter in darker areas so people don't blend in as much. Just by implementing these two solutions, the visibility would get drastically better. But these are pretty small fixes, so I'll welcome any open discussion about ideas you guys have to fix this system in the comments section. But with that all out of the way, enough gushing about this game, that's it for today's video. Thank you so very much for watching. It really does mean the world to me as a smaller creator. If you like this video, leave a like, and if you want to see more like it, consider subscribing and turning on the bell. Again, it really does help me out as a smaller creator. Also, a lot of the footage in this video was captured live on my Twitch, where I'm live playing FPS games every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at the times you see on your screen right now. But with all that being said, ladies, gentlemen, and degenerates, my name is Thrill. Thank you so very much for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.